How were you expected to sacrifice yourself for your family? When 3 of my cousins couldn't conceive, my grandmother declared that my fertile womb was God's gift to the barren women in our bloodline, and I would spend my 20s pregnant with their babies. Grandmother had always believed that a woman's only purpose was to produce babies. She had given birth to 11 children herself, and considered any woman who had fewer than 5 to be a failure. When 3 of my cousins were diagnosed with fertility issues, grandmother wept for weeks about the family curse that was stealing her great-grandchildren. She would gather all the women for prayer circles where she begged God to open their wombs and blamed their infertility on everything from their careers to their sinful thoughts. She treated pregnant women like holy vessels and barren women like they were diseased. The summer before my senior year of high school, grandmother announced at Sunday dinner that she had received a vision from God about how to save our family line. She pointed at me and said, "Your womb will save us all because when you turn 18, you will carry babies for every woman in this family who cannot." She explained that I would rotate between households, getting pregnant for each infertile cousin in turn until every branch of the family tree had fruit. She'd already worked out the schedule with my cousins' husbands. My parents nodded along like this was perfectly reasonable because grandmother's prayers had helped them conceive me 17 years ago. From that moment on, grandmother forced me to prepare my body for breeding in ways that made me want to crawl out of my skin. She made me practice breastfeeding with disturbingly realistic baby dolls while my cousins watched and critiqued my technique. Every morning, she forced prenatal vitamins down my throat and started giving me fertility shots that she got from some underground clinic. My cousins' husbands started coming over for bonding sessions where they would put their hands on my stomach and talk to my future babies while I sat frozen with disgust. Grandmother made me watch graphic birthing videos with the whole family while they discussed how I would handle labor for each cousin's baby. She dragged me to a fertility specialist who she paid under the table to run tests on my eggs without my consent. The doctor showed everyone ultrasounds of my ovaries like they were looking at property they were about to purchase. One night, my grandmother made me sign contracts about custody arrangements while my cousin's husband sat next to me rubbing my shoulders and whispering, "We're going to make such beautiful babies together." She scheduled my first insemination appointment for the day after my 18th birthday and made me memorize which sexual positions would guarantee a boy for my cousin who desperately wanted a son. My parents just watched while grandmother turned me into breeding livestock, convinced this was God's plan for their miracle daughter. 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, I knew I had to run before they could legally touch me. I stole cash from grandmother's purse and took a bus to a college 3 states away where I'd secretly gotten accepted. For 3 months, I hid in my dorm room like a fugitive, but felt human for the first time in years. I made friends who didn't know about the contracts I'd signed or the cousins waiting to impregnate me. My roommate thought I was paranoid for checking the locks constantly, but she didn't know about the insemination appointment I'd missed, or how grandmother had sworn she would track me down if I ever ran. I started birth control for the first time and cried when the doctor said I was in charge of my own body. I thought I could disappear into college life and they would give up on their breeding plans. But grandmother arrived on campus with a van full of people ready to drag me back for my medical appointments. She brought 2 of my cousins' husbands who tried to grab me outside my dorm while saying it was time to start our family. She'd brought a doctor with a mobile medical unit who was prepared to sedate me for transport. When the college wouldn't release me, she started sending my cousin's husband to follow me between classes with fertility tracking apps, trying to figure out when I was ovulating. They would corner me in the library and describe exactly how they planned to impregnate me once they got me home. Grandmother even bribed a student to put something in my coffee so they could kidnap me while unconscious, but my roommate saw them tampering with my drink and called the police. When the police investigated, they found the mobile medical unit contained surgical equipment for forced insemination. The doctor cracked under, questioning and admitted grandmother had paid him to perform the procedures whether I consented or not. They were both arrested, along with several of my cousins and their husbands, and the contracts I'd signed as a minor were used as evidence of child trafficking. I testified at their trials about the years of grooming and preparation. They all got prison time and I got a restraining order, but I still wake up sometimes feeling phantom hands on my stomach.